Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're peeling back the layers on a place known, well, more by legend than by fact, I suppose. A name whispered in hushed tones and sometimes shouted in viral memes, Area 51.
Mm.
Just the mention of it conjures images of flying saucers, top secret experiments, and this veil of impenetrable government secrecy. Officially, it's known as Homey Airport or Groom Lake. It's a military installation roughly 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Right, out in the desert.
But what it really is and what it represents is just so much more complex than the myths suggest, isn't it?
It truly is. I mean, for decades, its very existence was denied. The government just wouldn't talk about it.
Right.
And that official silence, ironically, became the bedrock for its global notoriety.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the most enigmatic and heavily classified sites, really, anywhere in the world. A place where reality and myth are so intricately woven together, it's often hard to tell where one ends and, the other begins.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to take a deep dive into the sources you've shared, a chronicle of Area 51's history, and an exploration of its secrecy, its surveillance, all the speculation, and really try to extract the crucial nuggets of knowledge. We
Mhm.
want to understand its evolution. How did it go from being essentially a highly classified aircraft testing site into this global symbol of conspiracy?
Yeah, that's the key question.
We'll examine what truly lies at that intersection of cutting-edge technology, government secrecy, and, well, that inherent human fascination with the unknown. It's about separating the documented facts from the fervent speculation
Hmm.
and discovering why this place continues to capture the imagination worldwide.
Hmm.
What are some of the key areas we'll be exploring that maybe listeners might find most surprising?
Well, you'll learn about its vital Cold War origins,
Right.
for one, and the revolutionary aircraft developed there, which didn't just push the boundaries of aviation, they utterly redefined them. We'll also explore the extreme, almost unbelievable lengths they went to for security. How something so human-made became so deeply intertwined with UFO phenomena, and of course its immense cultural impact is huge.
And crucially, we'll look at what its future role might be because, let's be clear, it's still operating today, very much at the cutting edge.
Oh, definitely.
We aim to provide you with a nuanced, well-informed perspective, respecting your time while delivering those aha moments about one of the world's most talked about yet, frankly, least understood locations. So let's begin our descent. Let's get into the genesis of secrecy that created Area 51. Okay, so the story of Area 51 begins, like so many significant government projects do, with a monumental challenge. During the early Cold War, the United States faced a truly urgent need. Can you kind of describe the intelligence gap that literally gave birth to this incredibly secretive place?
Yeah, the urgent need was for advanced reconnaissance capabilities,
Hmm.
something far beyond anything the U.S. had at the time. In the early 1950s, the Cold War was really escalating,
Yeah.
and the United States desperately needed to monitor Soviet military developments, especially their rapidly advancing nuclear programs. Big concern.
Huge.
The problem was, existing aircraft simply couldn't fly high enough or fast enough to evade detection over Soviet airspace.
Yeah.
Sending slower, lower-flying planes was just, well, it was a recipe for disaster. You risk a major international incident, maybe even war.
Yeah, getting shot down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was this critical blind spot, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. They needed eyes in the sky safely.
So enter a bold solution.
Hmm.
In 1955, the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, decides to tackle this intelligence vacuum head on. They partnered with Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works division.
Skunk Works.
And at the helm was the equally legendary Kelly Johnson. This guy was, well, more than just an engineer. He was a real visionary, known for his ability to produce groundbreaking aircraft under intense secrecy and, impossible deadlines.
Absolutely. Kelly Johnson wasn't just leading the program from some office somewhere. He was personally involved in selecting the site for this revolutionary new aircraft, the U-2 spy plane.
All right, the U-2.
During an aerial reconnaissance mission over Nevada, he actually spotted the ideal location for what would become Area 51. He understood, implicitly, the unique requirements for testing an aircraft designed to fly higher than anything before it, and crucially, to do so in complete isolation.
And this is where it gets really interesting because the criteria for selecting this site weren't just about finding remote space. They were incredibly specific. And they ultimately set the stage for everything that followed, defining the very essence of Area 51's mystique. What were those crucial factors?
Well, first and foremost, it's remote desert setting. You need vast, uninhabited stretches of land for testing something like the U-2, which would, fly at extraordinary altitudes.
Makes sense.
But beyond just space, they needed extreme isolation, far, far away from any civilian populations. Then, Johnson's aerial survey spotted something really useful, an existing rudimentary runway infrastructure from World War II, a disused airbase known as Groom Lake.
Wow.
This was a massive, unexpected head start, basically a ready-made airstrip right there in the middle of nowhere.
That must have seemed like a gift. And its strategic proximity to the Nevada test site, where they were testing nuclear weapons, that offered another layer of convenient cover, right?
Precisely. A perfect cover.
Yeah.
If anyone wondered about strange activities or sonic booms out there, they could easily attribute it to the existing, albeit also highly classified, nuclear testing nearby. Oh, it's just the test site stuff.
Clever.
And most importantly, it was chosen for its extreme isolation from civilian populations and, quote, prying eyes.
Yeah.
The U-2 was so revolutionary, so far ahead of its time, that its development and testing simply could not be observed by anyone. This was paramount for maintaining the secrecy of the U-2 program and, by extension, America's burgeoning Cold War intelligence advantage.
Mm-hmm.
The very act of choosing such a desolate, secluded spot cemented the culture of secrecy that would define the base for decades to come.
So they pinpointed the exact spot,
Yeah.
the western shore of Groom Lake, a dry lake bed that, as you mentioned, provided an excellent natural runway. I guess the surface of a dry lake bed is incredibly smooth and flat, perfect for landings and takeoffs.
Exactly, like a giant natural concrete slab.
You can almost imagine the scene in 1955. The CIA takes control, initial construction begins. What kind of facilities did they initially set up out there? Was it elaborate?
No, not really. The initial construction efforts by the CIA were surprisingly basic, yet remarkably comprehensive for building a functional base from scratch in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They quickly erected prefabricated hangars, workshops for maintenance and assembly, basic living quarters for personnel, barracks, a mess hall, and essential support infrastructure like water and power systems.
Pretty bare bones, then.
Yeah, very utilitarian. Built for function, not comfort. Designed purely to get the U-2 flying as quickly and secretly as possible.
And that remote, mountain-surrounded location, nestled deep within restricted government land, truly created the perfect, almost impenetrable environment. This allowed for these highly classified aircraft development programs, crucial for pushing aviation technology boundaries and gathering that vital intelligence during the height of Cold War tensions.
Right.
This physical isolation was, in essence, the very first and arguably the most crucial layer of Area 51's enduring mystique. It was designed to be a ghost on the map, and for decades, it largely succeeded. Okay, so once the physical base was established, the real work began. Area 51 was ready to host the kind of revolutionary machines that would literally build its legend. And it all started with the U-2, famously known as the Dragon Lady. This wasn't just another plane, it was a total game changer, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, not just another plane. The U-2 program was the true beginning of Area 51's transformation into America's premier classified aircraft testing facility. Its capabilities were groundbreaking for the time. We're talking designed to fly at altitudes exceeding 70,000 feet.
70,000.
Yeah, far beyond anything conventional aircraft could achieve. I mean, put that in perspective. Commercial airliners cruise around, 35,000 feet?
Right, half that.
The U-2 was flying way up in the stratosphere, practically on the edge of space. This allowed it to surveil Soviet territory with unprecedented detail and, critically, safe from their anti-aircraft fire and interceptors at the time.
And because it flew so high and was so sensitive and secret, its testing required complete isolation from public observation. This wasn't just a preference, it was a national security imperative.
Totally.
And this is where we start to see the very DNA of Area 51's infamous secrecy being formed, right? The protocols they put in place.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this a bit, because the U-2 program really established many of the security protocols that would define Area 51 for decades. We're talking about strict compartmentalization of information.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, imagine a complex puzzle where each person only sees and works on one single piece. They have absolutely no idea what the full picture looks like.
Need-to-know basis.
Exactly. Need to know in the extreme. For example, a pilot might know how to fly the U-2, an engineer might know how to build a specific part of the engine, but neither knows the other's full scope nor the overall mission objective. You only knew what was absolutely essential to your specific task, nothing more.
Wow.
This drastically limited the potential damage if someone was compromised or, leaked information. This was coupled with rigorous background checks for all personnel, far, far beyond standard military clearances.
Yeah.
These guys were vetted intensely.
And then the elaborate cover stories. Because if unusual aircraft were spotted in the region, which, let's face it, was inevitable given the U-2's unique flight profile, there had to be a plausible non-UFO explanation ready to go.
Precisely. That became a hallmark of the base. Silence and misdirection. Weather balloon, unusual atmospheric conditions, you name it. Anything but the truth.
Okay. So following the U-2's undeniable success, Area 51 naturally became the testing ground for even more advanced systems. This led directly to the Mach 3 giants, the A-12 Oxcart program, which in turn produced the legendary SR-71 Blackbird.
Ah, the Blackbird. I
A
got it.
Blackbird.
Great.
What an incredible machine. We're talking sustained flight at Mach 3.3.
Faster than a rifle bullet.
And altitudes exceeding 85,000 feet. To give you a sense of scale, that's over 3 times the speed of sound and higher than any commercial jet could ever dream of reaching. These weren't just faster planes, they were, as our sources describe them, quantum leaps in aviation technology. What made them so revolutionary?
They were truly astonishing. These aircraft incorporated revolutionary materials like titanium, which was incredibly difficult and expensive to work with at the time, especially forming it.
Right.
Along with unique propulsion systems, those massive J-58 engines were marvels in aerodynamic designs that could somehow withstand the extreme temperatures generated by sustained Mach 3 flight. The skin of the plane got incredibly hot.
Wow.
Their very existence pushed metallurgy, engine design, aerodynamics into entirely new realms. For their time, these aircraft truly seemed, well, almost alien, is a phrase that comes up.
I can see why.
Their exotic, sleek, almost menacing, needle-nosed appearance and their incredible performance when occasionally spotted by uncleared civilians or even other military personnel who weren't read into the program significantly contributed to the growing mythology around Area 51 and what people started calling unexplained aerial phenomena.
Yeah, imagine seeing that thing streak across the sky, silent because it's moving way faster than its own sound, looking unlike anything you've ever conceived of. Confusion guaranteed.
Absolutely. Total confusion.
So you have these incredibly advanced, unusual-looking craft pushing the limits of what was thought possible, inspiring awe and confusion. And then the 1970s and 80s rolled around, and Area 51 became the epicenter of something else entirely: stealth technology development.
A whole new chapter.
This fundamentally changed modern warfare, didn't it? Allowing aircraft to essentially become invisible to radar.
This was the Have Blue program, the precursor, the demonstrator for the F-117 Nighthawk, which became the world's first operational stealth fighter.
The Nighthawk, this sort of faceted, angular one.
Exactly. Its angular, almost faceted design was revolutionary. Specifically optimized for radar cross-section reduction. Think of radar as like a flashlight beam in the dark. A conventional plane is kind of like a shiny, curved ball. It reflects a lot of that light directly back to the source, the radar receiver.
Okay.
But the F-117's flat, angled surfaces were designed very deliberately to scatter that light, the radar waves, in multiple directions, away from the receiver. Like a stealthy diamond, minimizing any single bright reflection, made it incredibly difficult for radar to see it. Virtually invisible under the right conditions.
And the secrecy required for the F-117 must have been truly unprecedented. Stealth tech was, and still largely is, one of America's most closely guarded secrets. How did they manage that?
Well, to ensure almost no one saw it, it was tested almost exclusively at night.
Only at night.
Pretty much. Pilots and ground crews operated under the strictest protocols imaginable to prevent any visual observation, flying only under the cover of darkness over the restricted ranges.
And this, again, profoundly fed the myth, didn't it?
Oh, massively. The F-117's angular, almost otherworldly appearance. I mean, people described it as looking like a flying pyramid or something out of sci-fi.
Yeah, definitely not like a normal plane.
Its silent operation, especially at low altitudes, and its uncanny ability to seemingly appear and disappear from radar screens further fueled the mystique and speculation about extraterrestrial technology being reverse-engineered at the facility. For any observer, it must have seemed like something not of this Earth.
This raises an important question, though. How did these incredible but ultimately human-made machines become the bedrock of alien conspiracy theories? Because that jump from advanced aircraft to alien technology is quite a leap for the human mind. What's the psychological mechanism at play here, do you think?
That's a really fascinating insight, actually.
Why?
I think the human mind just abhors a vacuum. When you're confronted with something inexplicable, something that seems to defy known physics or conventional design, especially when it's shrouded in intense government secrecy, our brains don't just stop at unknown.
Yeah.
They fill that gap. And often, they fill it with the most dramatic, compelling narrative possible.
So aliens become the simplest explanation.
In a strange way, yes. When those shapes defied known aerodynamics, when they vanished from radar, and when officials would only offer no comment or, worse, deny anything was even there, alien become a powerful, almost default explanation for many. It's less about the specific technology itself and maybe more about our inherent need to create a coherent story, especially when facts are actively withheld. And that vacuum, that lack of information, was maintained by some of the most rigorous security measures on the planet. What's fascinating here is the sheer extreme stringency of Area 51 security measures. They are arguably among the most rigorous ever implemented for any military facility anywhere in the world. You're talking about a multi-layered defense strategy.
Layers, like an onion.
Sort of, yeah. Designed not just to keep people out, but to deter, detect, and delay any unauthorized access at every possible point. This includes multiple lines of physical barriers, chain link fences, concertina wire, that kind of thing, but also buried seismic sensors.
To detect footsteps.
Possibly, yeah, or vehicles. All backed up by extensive electronic surveillance systems, like ground sensors covering huge areas, motion detectors, cameras, the works.
And it's not just tech. There's the human element, too. We're talking armed security personnel, often known colloquially as camo dudes by the locals.
Right, the guys in the white pickups.
Who are explicitly authorized to use deadly force against unauthorized intruders. The warning signs posted prominently around the perimeter are crystal clear. They leave absolutely no room for doubt. Photography prohibited, trespassing will result in prosecution, and very bluntly, deadly force is authorized.
Yeah, that gets the message across.
It's a stark, serious warning, reinforcing the message that this is no ordinary military base you can just wander near.
That's a powerful deterrent on the ground. Then, beyond the ground-level security, you have the airspace above Area 51. It's designated as Restricted Area R4808N.
R4808N. Sounds official.
It is. It creates this vast, inverted, dome-shaped, no-fly zone, extending for many miles around the base. It prohibits all civilian aircraft and even most military aircraft that don't have specific clearance to be there.
So a total air exclusion zone.
Pretty much. This, combined with the facility's already remote location deep within the much larger Nevada Test and Training Range, which itself is a restricted military area, creates an unparalleled buffer zone against unauthorized observation, whether it's accidental or intentional.
So you can't get close on the ground, and you certainly can't fly over it. I heard even commercial airline flights are meticulously routed around this restricted area.
That's right. They sometimes had to add minutes to flight times, specifically to prevent inadvertent observation by passengers looking out the window. It's truly a black hole in the sky, a visible absence on air traffic control screens. A big chunk of Nevada airspace just sent for civilian planes.
Wow. And access to the facility itself, getting inside the wire.
Even more strictly limited.
Yeah.
Only personnel with the appropriate, very high-level security clearances and a proven, legitimate need to know for the highly classified programs being run there are allowed in. This isn't a base where just anyone with a military ID can wander around. Every entry and exit is tightly controlled, logged, monitored.
And the transportation system for the workers is legendary in itself. It's part of the whole mystique. These specially chartered, unmarked flights.
The Janet flights.
From a discrete terminal at what's now Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, ferry personnel to and from the base each day. These are the famous Janet flights, operated first by EG&G and later other contractors. They have that distinctive red stripe on otherwise plain white Boeing 737s. They've become almost as mythical as the base itself among aviation enthusiasts just for their role in transporting this mysterious workforce who commute daily to a place that, for a long time, officially didn't exist.
Right. And that official denial is key. For many, many years, the U.S. government officially refused to even acknowledge Area 51's existence. You wouldn't find it on maps. Public statements consistently avoided any reference to it.
Total radio silence.
Total silence. This absolute denial, this steadfast refusal to even admit it was there, it just fueled decades of rampant speculation. It became a powerful catalyst for the conspiracy theories because, when the government says absolute nothing about something that clearly is there.
People assume the worst. Or the most fantastic.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for public perception? Well, there was that significant shift in 2013 when the CIA officially released declassified documents that finally confirmed the site's existence and its historical role in Cold War reconnaissance programs like the U-2 and the A-12 Oxcart.
Right. A big moment, legally speaking.
But here's the kicker. While it confirmed what many already suspected from, satellite photos and worker testimonies, it did not fully address all the lingering questions, particularly those related to UFO activity. And crucially, it offered zero insights into current operations.
Past tense only.
Exactly. So this persistent refusal to provide detailed information prior to 2013, combined with those unusual and extreme security practices we talked about, it just reinforced public suspicion. It created an incredibly fertile ground for the conspiracy theories that would soon overshadow the base's actual documented purpose.
The government's official silence created this void, this vacuum of information. And that void was just readily filled by public imagination, leading to ever more elaborate and frankly persistent theories about what really goes on there.
And that fertile ground, cultivated by extreme secrecy and the sight of these truly revolutionary, sometimes bizarre-looking aircraft, quickly sprouted a whole new kind of lore. The alien phenomenon. How did this transition happen? From advanced human tech to extraterrestrial speculation really taking hold?
Well, that intersection of intense secrecy and those genuinely unusual sightings is precisely what made Area 51 such a focal point for UFO sightings and extraterrestrial conspiracy theories. And it's important to note, these sightings didn't just start with, say, Bob Lazar in the late 80s.
Earlier?
Oh, yeah. They began way back in the 1950s. Right around the time the U-2 was starting its high-altitude test flights. And they've continued, really, right up to the present day around the vast, desolate Nevada desert region. Witnesses often described aircraft exhibiting characteristics that seem to defy conventional aerodynamics. Sudden right-angle turns, incredible speeds from a standstill, or silent, hovering, unusual maneuvers.
Right, because if you saw something fly at unbelievable speeds or altitudes or with a really weird shape and you had absolutely no idea what it was, UFO, unidentified flying object, became the obvious label.
Exactly. It was unidentified to them.
And to be fair, as we've discussed, many of these sightings can be attributed directly to the testing of those classified aircraft programs.
Right. A lot of them. Probably most of them. For example, the U-2 flying way up at 70,000 feet. The thin atmosphere up there creates some really unusual visual effects.
Like what?
Well, the angle of the sun is different. The air is thin. A silver aircraft like the U-2 could shimmer or reflect sunlight in ways completely alien to observers miles below. It might appear to morph shape, glow, or even seem to disappear and reappear as reflections shifted. Pilots themselves reported seeing the black sky above and the blue curvature of the earth below, a truly otherworldly experience even from the cockpit.
Wow.
So imagine seeing that reflection from the ground. Similarly, the angular design of stealth aircraft like the F-117 and their unconventional flight patterns during testing, especially at night, well, that could very easily be misinterpreted as an extraterrestrial vehicle by an untrained observer, particularly when it seemed to just vanish from radar screens.
Okay, so you have these explainable, if highly unusual, sightings. But then something happened in 1989 that just poured gasoline on the fire, taking public fascination to a whole new level. Here's where it gets really interesting. The Robert Lazar effect. Tell us about Lazar and his claims, because he undeniably changed the game for Area 51's public perception.
Oh, Bob Lazar, yeah. He stepped forward in 1989 with claims that absolutely ignited a firestorm of public fascination. He went on Las Vegas television, initially anonymously, then later revealed his identity.
And what did he claim?
He stated he worked at a secret site called S4, which he described as being located just south of Area 51's main complex, maybe near Papoose Lake, burrowed into the side of a mountain. His testimony was sensational, to say the least.
How so?
He claimed he was part of a team involved in reverse engineering alien spacecraft. He asserted he had personally witnessed 9 flying saucers of extraterrestrial origin stored there, and he even described their propulsion systems, claiming they were powered by a super heavy, stable isotope of an element not found naturally on Earth, which he called element 115.
Wow. Okay, that's specific. And pretty exclusive stuff.
Absolutely. Now, it has to be said, critics immediately questioned his credentials and credibility. They pointed to major inconsistencies in his claimed academic background, like degrees from MIT and Caltech that the universities had no record of, and his previous employment history.
Right. There were definitely holes poked in his story.
Definitely. But regardless of the veracity of his claims, his story brought unprecedented public attention to Area 51. It just blew the doors off. It sparked a huge new wave of interest, particularly among UFO enthusiasts and amateur investigators. People started flocking to the region.
Trying to see for themselves.
Exactly. They gathered at vantage points like Tikaboo Peak, which is the closest publicly accessible mountain with even a distant, hazy view of parts of the base. Or they drive out along Groom Lake Road, the dirt road leading to the boundary, hoping to catch a glimpse of the unexplained.
The so-called black mailbox spot became famous too, right?
Yeah, that lonely mailbox on Highway 375, which became an unofficial gathering spot. And there was a reported increase in UFO sightings near the base following Lazar's revelations. Whether those were genuine or simply influenced by heightened awareness and expectation, it certainly cemented his impact and fueled the mythology. He put Area 51 on the map in a way nothing else had before.
So the government's consistent policy of neither confirming nor denying its existence or activities, combined with the obvious presence of highly classified stuff going on, it really created this perfect storm for elaborate theories, didn't it?
It really did. In the absence of transparency, especially when you have such extraordinary circumstances, top secret base, weird sightings, Lazar's claims imagination just runs wild. It fills the gaps,
Leading to...
leading to widespread beliefs that the primary function of Area 51 wasn't just testing advanced planes, but something far more secretive. Things like, alien technology, reverse engineering, the storage or even study of captured extraterrestrial beings, the classic Roswell autopsy type stuff, and massive government cover-ups of alien contact.
Yeah.
For many people, Area 51 became the nexus, the ground zero, for all their anxieties and fascinations about government secrecy and the possibility of life beyond Earth.
So you end up with theories not just about advanced human aircraft, but about alien technology, reverse engineering, captured extraterrestrial beings, the whole 9 yards, massive government cover-ups. Area 51 isn't just a place anymore. It's become this canvas for our deepest curiosities about the unknown. And that canvas pretty quickly expanded beyond just hushed whispers among UFO buffs into the very fabric of pop culture.
Area 51's journey from a top-secret military facility to a pervasive cultural phenomenon is truly remarkable. I mean, it's become far more than just a place on a map, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's synonymous with government secrecy, with alien conspiracy theories, and with the thrilling, sometimes terrifying, unknown possibilities of advanced technology. It's an instantly recognizable symbol, even to people who know basically nothing else about its actual history.
Its pervasive presence can be seen just everywhere. Countless books, documentaries, television shows like The X-Files, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And Hollywood films. One really notable example is the 1996 movie Independence Day. That film famously depicted Area 51 not just as a secret base, but as the storage site for recovered alien spacecraft and technology, the Roswell craft specifically.
Right, and where they kept the captured alien.
Exactly. And it's the place where humanity ultimately launches its counterattack against the invaders. That movie really solidified the idea for a whole generation that the U.S. government was definitely hiding aliens there. It embedded it deep into the collective consciousness.
Yeah, that movie was huge. And the notion that the government is concealing extraterrestrial life at the facility, it remains a core, almost indestructible part of American conspiracy culture, even if it's, entirely unfounded in documented fact.
It's amazing how sticky that idea is.
It really is. And what's truly fascinating here is how that deep cultural resonance can sometimes manifest in really unexpected ways, blurring the lines between satire and, well, potential reality. Think about the Storm Area 51 phenomenon back in 2019.
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
It began as a satirical Facebook event, right? Titled, Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us. Started by a college student, Maddie Roberts, basically as a joke, a meme.
And it just went absolutely viral. Didn't it get millions of responses online? People RSVPing go?
Millions. It was insane. It was clearly a joke, a meme, taken to an extreme, but it had surprisingly real-world consequences, didn't it? It's kind of wild to think a Facebook event could cause a genuine national security stir.
Totally. What happened?
Well, despite its satirical intent, the event led to a significant increase in security presence around the actual base. The Air Force issued official warnings, basically saying, don't try this, we're authorized to use force.
They took it seriously.
They had to. I just don't know. It garnered massive global media attention, turning what was a fairly niche conspiracy theory into a mainstream international news event for a few weeks.
Right.
And while the actual storming didn't happen, maybe a couple of people got arrested for trespassing near the gates, but no mass Naruto running charge.
Yeah.
It paradoxically led to the hosting of these sort of alien-themed festivals in the tiny nearby towns like Rachel and Hiko, Nevada. They drew thousands of curious onlookers, enthusiasts, and just people wanting to be part of the spectacle.
So it became a party instead of a raid.
Pretty much. It truly underscored the deep cultural resonance of Area 51, even as it kind of trivialized the seriousness of national security concerns around a classified military base. It proved just how deeply ingrained this idea is in our collective imagination.
And the small nearby town of Rachel, Nevada, which is really just a handful of houses and a diner, the closest settlement to Area 51, they truly leaned into it, didn't they?
Oh, completely. They've marketed themselves for years as the UFO capital of the world. You've got businesses like the famous little Alien Diner and Motel catering directly to alien enthusiasts, selling merchandise, maps to viewpoints.
The extraterrestrial highway designation for Route 375.
Exactly. They host annual gatherings of believers and skeptics alike. Area 51 isn't just a military base. It's become a weird sort of tourist attraction, a meme, a cultural touchstone that brings people together, even if it's just to speculate about what's behind the fence.
Okay, so with all the myths, the memes, the movies, the whole cultural circus surrounding it, what does Area 51 actually look like today, and what does its future hold? Because despite decades of public fascination and speculation, it clearly hasn't shut down. There's zero indication it will anytime soon.
Precisely. Area 51 continues to operate as one of America's most important and undoubtedly busiest classified aircraft development and testing facilities. Its role has actually expanded far beyond just simple flight testing of new airframes.
Expanded how?
Well, today, evidence suggests it includes sophisticated simulation facilities for advanced combat scenarios, cutting-edge advanced materials, research laboratories testing exotic composites and coatings and capabilities for testing the most complex next-generation military aviation technologies, including things like directed energy weapons or advanced electronic warfare systems.
Wow, so it's really a whole integrated R&D center now.
Pretty much. And there's tangible evidence of its ongoing expansion, too, right? You can see it in publicly available high-resolution satellite imagery.
What does that show?
It's revealed new, massive hangars being built, expanded runways, additional support facilities being constructed over recent years. This strongly suggests it's accommodating increasingly complex aircraft development programs, things that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the air and require more space, more specialized infrastructure.
So what's the likely focus now? What are they probably testing out there?
Its current focus is almost certainly on serving as the primary testing site for things like next-generation stealth aircraft. Maybe the B-21 Raider bomber had some early testing there, or prototypes for future fighters. Also, increasingly sophisticated unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs or drones.
Like the successor to the Predator or Reaper?
Possibly, or even more advanced, stealthy, autonomous ones. And crucially, hypersonic vehicles, aircraft capable of flying at Mach 5 or more. 5 times the speed of sound.
Hypersonics. That's the big cutting edge right now.
It really is. These are the absolute frontiers, the future of military aviation and potentially space access, and the strict security and operational secrecy that have defined Area 51 since its inception. They remain firmly in place. The facility still operates under a strict policy of official non-acknowledgement regarding its current operations.
So while we've seen some, carefully managed declassification of historical programs like the U-2 and F-117, often decades after the fact, anything happening there right now, anything new being developed, remains as highly classified as ever. It's still very much a black site, a secret within a secret, operating behind a veil that's essentially as thick as it's always been.
Which raises another important question, though. One that is often overshadowed by the more sensational UFO theories. The very real environmental and safety concerns that arise because of the facility's classified nature. These issues remain largely hidden from public scrutiny, making it incredibly difficult to assess their true impact or hold anyone accountable.
You mean beyond just the secrecy and the advanced tech, there are actual tangible hazards. For the people who work there or the environment around it, what are the complexities involved?
Exactly. The complexities arise partly from its location within the larger Nevada test site, where, as we know, numerous atmospheric and underground nuclear weapons tests occurred during the Cold War.
Right, so there's legacy contamination.
There's known radioactive contamination in the wider area, yes. But furthermore, the development of advanced aircraft, especially those incorporating revolutionary materials, exotic fuels, and unique propulsion systems, often involves the use of highly hazardous and toxic chemicals and materials, things that need very careful handling, storage, and, crucially, disposal.
And we've heard allegations from former workers over the years, haven't we? Claims of exposure to toxic chemicals and hazardous materials during their employment, sometimes leading to serious health problems like cancers.
Yes, there have been multiple allegations and even lawsuits brought by former workers or their families. Most notably, perhaps, a case back in the 90s involving former Area 51 workers, like an engineer named Walter Costa, who alleged exposure to dangerous chemicals without proper protection during the open-air burning of classified materials and waste.
Burning classified stuff in open pits.
Well,
Seriously.
the allegation, yeah. A way to destroy sensitive materials, but obviously creating toxic smoke. These workers faced, and still face, immense difficulty in pursuing legal remedies due to national security considerations.
So,
Well, they are often prevented by secrecy oaths and classifications from discussing the specific nature of their work or the exact materials to which they were exposed. This makes it nearly impossible to build a standard legal case in public court or seek compensation for resulting health issues.
wow. So they can't even prove what they were exposed to because it's classified.
It's a profound dilemma,
Yeah.
a real catch-22, where national security imperatives literally silence those who serve the nation, potentially at great personal cost to their health.
That's a profound ethical and human challenge. Their service to national security potentially comes at this debilitating personal cost, without the ability to seek redress because of the very secrecy they upheld. But looking to the future now, as military aviation technology continues to evolve at an unprecedented pace, Area 51's role is predicted to remain absolutely crucial, right?
Absolutely. It will undoubtedly play an irreplaceable role in the development of things like sixth-generation fighter aircraft, whatever comes after the F-35 and F-22, advanced unmanned systems, maybe optionally manned platforms, and other revolutionary technologies that, frankly, we can barely even imagine today.
And you have to connect this to the broader geopolitical landscape too, right? The increasing importance of space-based military systems, the rise of AI in warfare, and the growing technological competition with near-peer adversaries like China and Russia.
Definitely. In that context, Area 51's strategic importance only grows. Its unique ability to provide a secure, vast, instrumented, and isolated testing ground for technologies that could define future conflicts is simply unmatched anywhere else in the U.S., possibly the world.
So in essence, Area 51's unique combination of unparalleled security, extreme isolation, cutting-edge testing capabilities, and, importantly, generations of accumulated institutional knowledge and experience. It makes it, frankly, irreplaceable. Irreplaceable for developing and testing the nation's most sensitive, most advanced military aviation technologies.
Yeah, the legend continues for sure. But so does its vital, very secret work continuing to shape the future of defense behind those closed, heavily guarded doors. #TagTagEtro.
So we've journeyed through the incredible, often unbelievable history of Area 51. We've explored its origins, as a solution to those critical Cold War intelligence gaps. We talked about the revolutionary aircraft like the U-2, the SR-71 Blackbird, the F-117 Nighthawk that were born and honed there.
Amazing machines.
And the unparalleled levels of secrecy that shrouded their development from the very beginning. We've seen how that intense secrecy, combined with the genuinely exotic nature of these aircraft, created such fertile ground for UFO sightings and elaborate conspiracy theories. Theories most notably ignited and amplified by Robert Lazar's sensational claims back in '89.
And we've witnessed its remarkable transition into this global cultural icon, from Hollywood blockbusters like Independence Day that really cemented its alien mystique for millions,
Right.
to those kind of bizarre viral social media events like Storm Area 51 that, maybe ironically, underscored its deep cultural resonance, its grip on our collective imagination. Yet beneath all the speculation, all the pop culture references and the memes,
Yeah.
Area 51 continues its vital mission today, pushing the very boundaries of aviation technology while also grappling with its own hidden environmental and safety challenges, consequences, really, of that very secrecy.
It truly embodies that intersection of cutting-edge technology, government secrecy, popular culture, and our inherent human fascination with the unknown, doesn't it? It's far more than just a military installation. It's become a living legend.
Absolutely.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, we kind of leave you with this thought to ponder. Given Area 51's undeniable historical contributions to national defense and technological advancement, I mean, the U-2, stealth, these were game changers.
Hugely important, yeah.
And its ongoing crucial role in shaping future military capabilities, how do we as a society truly balance that imperative for national security and technological advantage with the public's inherent desire for transparency, for knowledge about what truly lies beyond the boundaries of public understanding?
That's the core tension, isn't it?
It really is. It's a tension, a constant push and pull between the genuine need for secrecy in some areas and that fundamental human drive for discovery, for knowing what's really going on. And Area 51, in all its enduring mystique, perfectly embodies that ongoing struggle. Something to think about.